more serious note of just trying to reel it back into where we are. There was, I believe it was like a very high profile case here that you, well, you could tell us more about like the role you played or the position you were in with the Waffle House shooting here. Can you give us some insight to how that played out and you know the position it, like I know you've already detailed you were in the DA's office and otherwise, but just I guess give us more detailed insight there, just because there's a lot about, like I said, the story and the experience that you had up to this point.
So there was a guy, I'm not gonna say his name because but he walked into a Waffle House back in 2018, and out in Antioch.
I lived like 3 minutes away at the time.
Yeah, and it was that new Waffle House, right? So it was packed, late night. Just like any one of us would go or have done at some point in our lives. And it was, that neighborhood is the most diverse part of Nashville. So everybody in there was black. There was some Hispanic people in there. Of course, there was some white people, but majority it was us, right? And he had cased that Waffle House on a couple of occasions. And what he did was he walked in with a basically an assault rifle, a Bushmaster XM15, which is their version of an AR-15. Had 90 rounds. He had no clothes on, completely naked except for a jacket, right? He needed a jacket because he wanted to carry the two clips. There's two clips with 30 rounds in each. One in there, sat outside, watch those people enjoying their lives with their friends, their loved ones, and he decided to get out of there. And I mean, he had no underwear on, no shorts, socks, shoes, nothing, completely naked. And he started shooting. He went in there to kill everybody, right? He killed 2 people on the outside, went in and started shooting people. He shot 8 people total, and he killed 4 people who definitely should have never lost their lives. And it was his intention to kill everybody else in there. He got, you remember in a Waffle House, they got, when you go to the bathroom, it's got the little swinging door right there. And he got to that Waffle House, got to that door, and he fired a shot through the window and missed. And that was the last round in that clip. And he was about to change the clip out. And that's when James Shaw Jr., who was standing back there, because a bunch of people, once they heard the gunshots, had run back there to hide. But the bathrooms was locked. So you had 3 people standing there in that one little space. They had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And he fires that last shot, and it hits James on the arm. And at that point in time, James like pushed the door open, and they got to wrestling. He was able to take the gun away from him and throw it away from the over the counter. And that's the only reason why he didn't kill everybody. But he did kill 4 people, Akila and Joe and Torian and D'Ebony. 4 young people, beautiful people, wonderful families, wonderful, who have stood by those cases, for every hearing that we had. When that happened, I was supposed to go to that Waffle House that night. I had family in town. They asked, like, hey, they were in town. We won't go to the Waffle House. Oh, it's a new one. I was going to go. And thankfully I didn't. But when I heard about it, same reaction to anybody in Nashville, like, this is ridiculous. Another mass violence happens here in Nashville. I got assigned to be on the case. And, that was something that it was, not just something that I wanted to, that, getting a big case is something that attorneys will like, but it was personal to me. I wanted to make sure that I got justice for those families. So I was on the trial team the whole time. He, the shooter, his family had money from Illinois, and we were able to track that he had gone back and got his gun. He was not supposed to have a gun because he had some mental illness, right? So he went and brought his gun back just specifically to carry out this murder. He had written all of these things, journals and things like that, in which he had made some comments which were definitely racist. James Shaw, he told me after he disarmed him, he said something, I forget the exact quote, but something to the effect of like, I can't believe that nigga disarmed me or got the gun from me. You know, so I personally felt like not only was it a horrible crime, but I thought that perhaps it was a targeted attack. Now we didn't argue that in court because we didn't have that charge, and he's still doing 4 life sentences consecutive. But I felt like it was targeted, and I wanted to make sure that those families, that this wasn't a case where, oh, it could be swept under the rug. Oh, he's got mental illness. He can get off and go to, the mental facility for however long, and then the judge maybe decide to let him out. I was on the trial team. I actually delivered the final closing argument, which means I was the last attorney to speak to the jury, to ask him to hold him in jail. And one of the things that struck me that I hadn't even really thought about it until recently on this trail, because I've had to go speak to a lot of churches and stuff, is the argument that his attorneys put forth was that God commanded him. That's some of the stuff that he had wrote. That God commanded him to go in and do that. So he hires this really good team, great attorneys, some of the best that you could go up against. That God commanded him to go in there and kill those people. And one of the things that they will instruct every prosecutor is you don't use the word God in closing argument, because that's you don't want to do that. Now he put that into play, so legally I was allowed to do it. And I stood up and I told the jury that God didn't have anything to do with what he did. That was him. That was him being evil. He wanted to kill people because he didn't like his life, because he had issues with who he was, with his own sexuality, fact that he wasn't well liked, and he saw those people sitting in that Waffle House having fun. You could see the video of it, and you can tell that they're sitting there enjoying their lives. Sorry, I'm starting to get a little emotional about it.
It's
Trying to calm down. Bro. But yeah, I'm back at this. It was you're supposed to handle a case dispassionately, and I did my job in that regard. But I would be lying to you if I didn't sit up many, many nights working hard on that case and crying for real about that. Because he took the lives of some wonderful people. And that 2 of the young ladies who also got shot, like they will be forever injured. The doctor who described it, it was like they had, a bomb had gone off on them. So, yeah, it was that was probably one of that is the most memorable case I've ever worked on, not one of.
Yeah, I ate it though. I was like, I think six